Professional communication is how people relate to one another at work, in school, when conducting business, and public speaking. It's an effective practice to communicate professionally whenever you are informing or persuading others for the purpose of getting work done. Communicating professionally refers to the verbal, nonverbal, written, and visual methods you use to convey messages to others, as well as the verbal, nonverbal, written, and visual ways you provide feedback to the messages you receive. Communication is a two-way process, whereas one sends a message and one or more receivers hear, see, read, or perceive the message and convey feedback to the sender. In face-to-face communication, that feedback is often nonverbal. We read people's body language to know if they are understanding. In the picture, a woman with her back to us is being interviewed. The body language of the interviewers on the panel expresses nonverbal cues of listening. Listening, like reading, is a comprehension skill, whereas speaking and writing are both production skills. Both production and comprehension skills are essential to effective communication. To be an effective speaker, you need to be an effective listener. And to be an effective writer, you need to be an effective reader. Our comprehension skills help us to know and regulate and develop our production skills. They tell us about our audience and how we are being understood. When we communicate in writing online, we cannot rely on nonverbal feedback as we do in face-to-face communication. Online university students have to learn how to regulate their tone, word choices, and the amount of details to include in their communications by being aware of and adhering to the norms, etiquette, and expectations of a professional audience. When you are communicating professionally, your number one consideration should be your audience, so you can tailor your message to be well received and so your purpose is clear and can be achieved. Formality can vary depending on how familiar you are with your audience, but you'll consistently want to apply a formal style, which refers to standard language usage regarding word choice and phrasing, spelling, and grammar. Always being polite, and by providing information that is complete, accurate, clear, and concise. We will see how all of this is applied in a student email. Shown here is a student email that is personal, as indicated by the personal email address, unspecific subject, casual greeting and nickname, as well as the informal language, non-standard punctuation, and incomplete information. Changing the audience from personal to professional would mean changing every aspect of this message, from the email address and subject line to the greeting, message, salutation, even the signature. Let's change the audience to a professor. Whenever writing an email at school, especially to a professor, use your school email account. Send it from your school email address to your professor's school email address. This will ensure that your email will arrive in your professor's inbox. It will also indicate you are a student, and this is a professional communication. Next, in the subject line, provide a specific but brief description of the email topic, the reason you are writing, as in the example, question about Unit 6 article. To be complete, also identify the course you're in. A one-word subject like question or help would be unspecific and therefore not useful. You want to provide complete, useful information to your recipient to expedite the communication process. To begin a professional communication such as an email to a professor, avoid casual greetings like "Hey," In an ongoing email exchange where both the sender and recipient have already established their professional presence and there is a mutual respect and understanding, you can use hi or hello, but hey would likely still be too informal, as would nicknames like Prof. Hey Prof is unprofessional and could be construed as disrespectful. Keep in mind that email is not private either. What you write in email can be forwarded to others. Always be professional when writing an email in school or work, regardless of how close you are to the recipient. Include a greeting every time and err on the side of formality. Begin the email with the formal greeting "Dear" and use the honorific "Professor" with the professor's correctly spelled last name. First names are personal, and writing an email to your professor is professional, so to use a formal professional style, use your professor's last name only. Next, begin the message by further identifying yourself. In a business letter, this would be where you tell how you know each other. For example, I'm in your Composition 1 class that meets Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Even if you know your professor knows you, providing this context will reinforce that familiarity, and it's useful. Including the time zone is another effective practice in an online university where people live in different time zones. Be complete. Next, begin your question, but first indicate you've already sought the answer on your own. Don't include any irrelevant information unrelated to the question or that would draw more attention to your emotional state than the specific topic of the email. Do not, for example, include you were up until 4 a.m. working on the assignment because you've been working extra hours, have a bad cold, and your son has a broken leg. If you are stressed out, you can say, I am stressed, so I may be overlooking something. But when you're writing a professor, the purpose of it is not to seek emotional support as it might be in a personal email. Rather, you want to provide useful information so you can receive the help needed to complete the assignment. In the example, the student writes, I am working on the Unit 6 analysis of an article assignment. I read in the syllabus that we are to use the article we selected for the Unit 4 project. This information lets the professor know that the student does realize what the assignment is. Otherwise, the professor's response might be to refer to the syllabus. Next, describe the problem. Again, be complete, but do not include details unrelated to the question. In the example, the student writes, I have narrowed my topic since then. I would now like to use a different article that provides more specific information on it. Notice the student does not include a long narrative about how she arrived at a more narrow topic, only what she did and wants to do and why. Conclude your message with the course of action you are requesting of the professor. Be clear about your question and what you would like to happen. For example, the student writes, could you please email me to let me know if I may use a different article for the Unit 6 analysis of an article essay? Finally, conclude with a polite thank you and then your full name. Professional communication is key to your success in your academics and your career. Remember, you will be developing a professional persona in all your professional communications, so keep in mind the features of formal style, standard language usage, politeness, completeness, accuracy, clarity, and concision, and you will do great.